In economics, consumer theories are basic ideas that help us understand how people decide what to buy and how to spend their money. These ideas look at things like how people make decisions, what motivates them, and what their preferences are. Economists can learn more about consumer decisions, market demand, and the economy as a whole by studying consumer theories. In this piece, we'll look at some of the most important theories of consumer behavior, such as models of how people make decisions, the role of incentives, and the importance of preferences. Decision making models. Rational choice theory. Rational choice theory says that people make decisions based on how much something costs and how much it will help them. This theory says that people try to maximize their utility or level of happiness by making the best choice they can given their preferences and budget. Rational choice theory says that before making a choice, you should think about all of your options and weigh their pros and cons. Bounded rationality. Bounded rationality is a theory that says people have limits on how much information they can process and how rationally they can make choices. People often use patterns and other ways to simplify things to make decisions that are good enough but not the best. This idea goes against the idea that people are always perfectly logical, which is what most economic models assume. Prospect theory. Prospect theory, which was made by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, says that people's decisions are affected by what they expect to gain or lose. It says that people care more about losses than gains and are more likely to avoid taking risks when they might lose something than when they might gain something. Behavioral economics. In contrast to the rational choice theory, behavioral economics understands that people don't always make decisions that are completely logical. Behavioral economists look at how customer behavior is affected by cognitive biases and other psychological factors. This field of study takes into account the fact that people may make irrational decisions because of things like emotions, social pressures, and heuristics, which are brain shortcuts. By knowing how people tend to act, economists can better predict and explain how people make decisions. Incentives and consumer behavior. Role of incentives. The way people act is greatly affected by incentives. Consumers are influenced by both positive and negative rewards, which can be either positive or negative. Customers are more likely to buy certain goods or do certain things when they are given positive incentives, such as discounts, sales, and rewards. Negative incentives, on the other hand, make people less likely to do certain things. For example, putting taxes on dangerous products like cigarettes is an example of a negative incentive. For businesses and policymakers to change customer behavior and market results, they need to know how incentives work. Nudge theory. Nudge theory says that making small changes, or nudges, in how people are given choices can affect how they choose. By setting up the architecture of choices in a certain way, lawmakers and businesses can get people to do what they want without taking away choices or giving direct rewards or punishments. Behavioral economics and marketing. The concepts of behavioral economics are often used in marketing to change how people act. People's decisions and purchases are often influenced by techniques like framing, presenting information in a certain way, social proof, using social influence to guide choices, and shortage, making it seem like there isn't enough of something to go around. Economic incentives. Changes in prices, changes in income, and changes in the supply of goods and services all have a big effect on what consumers choose to buy. When the prices of things go up, people may choose to use less of them or look for cheaper alternatives. Changes in pay can also affect a person's ability to buy things and how much they can spend on them. Economists can predict how consumers will react and how the market will move by looking at economic factors. Non-economic incentives. Consumer behavior can also be affected by things like social standing, the influence of peers, and personal values. Consumers often make decisions based on things other than pure economics. For example, some people may choose to buy goods that are better for the environment, even if they cost more, because it fits with their values. Businesses need to understand non-economic rewards in order to come up with marketing plans that match the values and goals of their customers. Preferences and consumer choice. Utility theory. Utility theory is a basic idea in economics that shows how people make decisions based on what they want. Utility theory says that people give different things and services different values or utilities based on what they like. When making choices about what to buy, consumers try to get the most out of their purchases and be as happy as possible. Utility can be different for each person, which makes it hard to measure in an objective way. But economists use utility theory as a framework to figure out what consumers want and to predict what they will do. Marginal utility. Marginal utility is the amount of extra happiness or satisfaction you get from using one more unit of a good or service. The law of diminishing marginal utility says that as people eat more of a certain good, the extra happiness they get from each additional unit gets smaller. This concept explains why people are willing to pay more for the first unit of a good than for the next units. Economists use the idea of marginal utility to study market demand patterns and price elasticity. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a psychological theory that groups human needs into an order, with basic physiological needs at the bottom and higher level needs like self-actualization at the top. Marketers can make their goods and messages more meaningful to consumers by tailoring them to how their preferences and needs match up. Cultural factors and preferences. Consumer tastes are heavily influenced by cultural factors. People's ideas about what is good or right are affected by their culture's norms, values, beliefs, and customs. When making goods and marketing campaigns, marketers need to think about cultural factors to make sure they match the preferences and values of different target markets. Revealed preferences. Revealed preferences is the idea that people's tastes can be figured out by looking at what they buy and how they act. Economists can make assumptions about what people really want by looking at the choices they make in the market. When people's preferences are known, we can learn about how they make decisions, how the market works, and how well marketing tactics work. In economics, consumer theories help us understand how people make decisions, what motivates them, and what their tastes are. By knowing these theories, economists can look at consumer choices, market demand, and economic trends as a whole and make predictions about them. The rational choice theory and behavioral economics look at decision-making models from different points of view, and incentives and interests have a big impact on how people act. By studying customer theories, economists can help come up with marketing strategies, make policies, and learn more about how markets work.